Today we're going to be looking at this article that comes here from the Intel research group. And so what it's talking about is called Efficient Implementation of Sorting on Multi-Core SIMD CPU Architecture. So that probably doesn't make any sense if this isn't like something that's your field of expertise, if you don't really know like what's going on here. So I'm going to kind of just throw it up on screen here and make it so that you can see it. But I'm going to break it down for you and for everybody watching and show you why this has some good news for people that are building a computer and like kind of want to figure out what processor to use, and why this is kind of useless for people that are building a computer. So we'll just get right into it. Computer processors can sort information in two different ways: single core and multi-core. This is also sometimes referred to as a single-threaded or multi-threaded task. The more cores, and subsequently the more threads a CPU has, the more it can compute information, because each core and each thread can independently perform functions. Modern CPUs can sort information on multi-core processes in order to get more information sorted or analyzed in a shorter amount of time. Using SIMD, which is where a CPU does multiple sorts with only one instruction. SIMD stands for single instruction, multiple destination. Intel's processor can sort 64 million points of information in less than 0.5 seconds on a standard 4-core processor. So, for perspective, on a standard Intel processor, in a few minutes it could have done all the calculations that it took to first put a man on the moon. Therefore, it shows that Intel's latest SIMD sorting is faster. But who benefits from this? On the surface, this seems to say that the latest gen Intel CPUs are faster than AMD's. But sorting is only useful for SQL operations. These operations are processes in which information from the left side is added, subtracted, multiplied, divided, etc. from information on the right side. The most common implication of this that's actually like seen in the real world would be cryptocurrency mining. Cryptocurrencies are currencies that have been in the news lately, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I think there's even one called Dogecoin. Cryptocurrency mining is the process of taking a semi-prime number, which is a prime number multiplied by another prime number, and then trying hundreds of thousands of divisions to figure out which prime numbers were originally multiplied to make it. This is an SQL process that is used to protect data transactions. So one person would have one prime number, the other person has another prime number, and the transaction is going to be the semi-prime. And it's a computer's job to compute those two numbers so it can decode the transaction. But this doesn't really benefit like people that are gaming or doing any tasks that aren't strictly SQL. So if you're going to build a PC and all you want to do is play video games, I strongly recommend using one of the new AMD processors for their superior core and thread count, faster speeds, and better utilization of high megahertz DDR4 RAM. But what if you want to build a PC that can still run games very well, but also performs workstation tasks like SIMD sorting? For many years, people thought about using GPUs to sort information because of their superior speed and added GDDR RAM to help them remember where they're at in the sorting process. GDDR RAM is extremely fast, but it only matters if the graphics card can use it. It can't benefit any rest of the computer. GPUs also use Bitonic sort systems, and in the past that meant they could run data in a 2D array very quickly and effectively, which is what you want, to just have numbers on one side and numbers on another side. It's just 2D, and it's just strictly computations. But as processors progress, it seems to not really be worthwhile to use GPUs for information sorting, although they are still a good option if you're not in possession of anything that's specialized, but they're not the best. The specialized machines are things called cell processors, which can have dedicated cores just for sorting. But it would be almost impossible to have a personal computer that uses a cell processor because you couldn't really do anything but sort numbers. So that brings us back to talking about what processor to put in your PC to be able to run games and sort information. The new processor design created by Intel allows their CPUs to utilize a large amount of cache. This cache holds more bandwidth than previously. This means that the CPU can benefit from additional sticks of DDR RAM. So the more RAM that you have previously, at some point you couldn't really use anymore. But now that the CPUs can take more cache, you can use more RAM, which is going to help you do more SQL operations. This also means that when you're gaming, the processor is going to remember like what's going on, where it is like within the virtual computation, and it's going to know like what it needs to do. So with the information presented in that article, we can confidently say that an Intel CPU would be the best choice for somebody that wants to build a PC that can both game and compute. But as of 2 months ago, that would be wrong. AMD has come out with the new Ryzen 5 3600 and 3600X, and they've both proven that there's an even faster way to create a gaming and workstation PC. Coming in at $170 and $199 respectively, the new Ryzen processors have finally beat Intel using a new 7nm architecture. This means that they have more and more compute cores and cache that can be shoved into one single CPU thanks to a smaller structure and more energy efficient design. While Intel may have been king for over 8 years without competition, it's time to head towards other brands like AMD thanks to amazing design and ingenuity. Luckily, this competition means that Intel will also be coming out with a 7nm design in the early to mid 2020. So not totally sure, but it should be around then, and that's only going to benefit consumers. I hope this was helpful to help you guys decide what path to go for. Of course, if the Ryzen chips are too expensive in your region, then the Intel is still a great offer if you're working on a workstation computer. I really do recommend buying the AMD, but I also think that Intel will come back stronger than ever. So until next time, good luck, gamers.